welcome to the VSA Capital 5 Minute Morning Miner on Thursday, the 10th of July, and it's a beautiful, hot, sunny day out there again, and it's going to be for quite a while. Morning, Paul.
Yes, I agree with all those points at this point.
I'm glad I'm getting it right so far. Right, the big story today is CAML, um, and it's not good news. Paul, you better say what the news is first, then I'll give a quick view of where I think we are on this. We've talked a lot about it, and this is pretty bloody awful, frankly. But anyway, Paul, just update us on the operations update that was clearly disappointing.
Well, it was disappointing, yes, indeed. But first, the good news: lost time injury frequency not so bad at this point. Still operating both Sessa and Coonrad with pretty good results here. The bad news, on the other hand, is that they're having to revise downward their zinc and lead concentrate guidance as a result of they're having grade variability issues as they go deeper in the Sessa mine under the new mining methods being used. They do think that that will be resolved in due course, but by the same token, as far as nearer term production rates and output is concerned, revised to concentrate for the remainder of the year full at 17 to 19,000 tons on zinc and 25 to 27,000 tons on lead. The copper guidance for Coonrad, however, has stayed the same, something between 13 and 14,000 tons of metallic copper to be produced at Coonrad. So, uh, given all these things here, they do have other operating things that they have otherwise talked about as well, and the shipments continue as normal.
Yeah, look, the stock's off about 10p to just above 150p, which is back on its lows again. Um, Look, obviously they're in the middle of this contested bid. I think the problem you've got here really is that this is a very highly paid management team. They really are in the top quartile. And if you're going to be up there, you've got to perform. And if you're going to make a contested bid, you've got to make sure your own business is performing probably better than expected, not worse than expected. So this is putting it in football terms, the manager would have been sacked today. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily what you need, but I think there needs to be some change at board level before shareholders will now take this company to heart. Um, Now, where the bid will go, obviously, it's contested. I guess they're still hoping to win it, but I think it could be quite tricky. Um, and if they don't, probably the best thing they could do, as well as having a bit of a shuffle at board level, try and sort it out, is actually they've got cash. Just the cheapest stock out there for them probably is not another acquisition, probably their own stock. They should probably just do a massive share buyback, um, because that will be probably the best return of capital to shareholders. Um, so it's got itself in a hole and it needs to do something. It can't just trundle along, in my view. That may sound a bit harsh. If anyone from the management is listening, please don't take it to heart. Feel free to call me. But it's time that was changed. The market, the institutions, this is going to be a lagging stock for a long, long time if they don't sort a few things out. There you are. That's my view, anyway. Um, Anything else you want to talk about, Paul?
Yeah, just a couple of points here in the exploration front here for companies. First of all, London quoted Atalaya Mining. They released drilling results on their Proyecto Masa Valverde project, which lies to the south-southwest of their Rio Tinto operating assets. Masa Valverde is one of their development assets that they are in the process of working underground ramp development in order to bring the high grade within this deposit, which runs something between 1.25% and 3% to copper at depth up to the surface in order to ship it over to the Rio Tinto plant for added production rates. Drilling in here released was underground drilling here and showing very nice widths here. So it's going to be imminently mineable by mechanized methods. We're talking about between 20 and 50 meters thicknesses in the range of between 1.3 and 2.8% copper in these holes. So definitely a high grade situation for Atalaya mining.
And actually,
As they
whilst you mention
see
that, it's quite a good comparison to CAML, isn't
it.
it? And yet it's outperformed CAML so far in the first half of this year by 30%. So again, that just sort of shows you where we are. It's actually outperforming CAML quite significantly, which is not what we would have predicted a few years ago, I think. Anyway, yes, sorry. Anything else, Paul?
Yes, Solgold's, they have satisfied the conditions precedents for the funding deal on Cascabel that they signed almost exactly 1 year ago, which means now that they expect the second tranche of funding from Franco-Nevada to proceed with Cascabel feasibility. That funding level, $33.3 million, they're expecting in the next 10 days or so. And finally, on ASX listed, the gold explorer I like in Chile, Tesoro Gold, they discussed in a good press release here their results from field sampling on their Brea area target, which is 15 kilometers north of their Ternera gold deposit on the El Zorro project there in Chile. Very nice grades here. They are field sampling, so no more than 1 meter wide, but it's several grams gold per ton, and it is in parallel vein sheets and fissures alongside a intrusion. So it's classic IRGS style mineralization that they'll be trenching into in the coming weeks to determine drill specific drill targets.
Very good, Paul. Thank you very much. And we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. All right.
Very good. See you then.
This podcast has been produced and edited by VSA Capital. It is intended for information purposes and not as investment advice. The information is intended for recipients who understand the risks associated with equity investments in smaller companies. Please do your own research and do not rely on a single source when making an investment decision. VSA Capital may derive fees from this content and seeks to do business with the companies mentioned.